Hi, this is Allie Ford, and we're here with another episode of GearHedz, a Jade Lounge production. I'm here with Jason Thomas. Manganista is the band that I'm aware of. Just found out you've got 3 more bands going.
I do.
Let's talk about all 4 of them.
Okay. Yes. Well, yes, I'm a bass player for Manganista. I also started playing back in my original band, Fusebox. It's been around since 1992.
Yeah.
We're presently recording in that band right now and doing shows. Also, I'm a member of the Motel Blackouts as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
I did not know.
Yeah, I do that too. Which is, again, like, I'm in 4 bands technically, but only seems like 2 go at the same time, so it kind of works out,
right.
because we have to balance, family time and, work time and everything else with that. So
important stuff.
Yeah. And also in another band, and these called Blue Sky Flu, with members of all these other bands are all intertwined in all of the bands that I'm in. So it's technically one big conglomerate of bands that we kind of,
That's very cool, though. I love that.
It's fun.
Who's playing the most?
Manganista and Fusebox right now. Yeah, for sure. And I guess Fusebox has a couple shows coming up, and Manga also has a few shows. And, it's kind of like the thing.
Are you bass playing in everything?
Yes. I bass. No, I was the bass player because when we know Josh Valle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he moved up to Seattle, and Motel Blackouts were playing and wanted to get going again. So I'm like, okay. Well, much like Brent, people ask me to play bass
Mm-hmm.
a lot. So I'll go and I said, yeah, I'll do that. And I actually had fun with that and kind of wrote some background vocal parts to it, and then it was kind of like we got back together with Josh for the Joe Memorial, and Brent got back with Craig doing that too, and that was a fun show. That was an awesome show.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I had Motel Blackouts come practice at my studio, and I was like, you know what? I might play keyboards. I might try to do the Rhodes with you guys, see what it sounds like, and it sounded pretty good. So I kind of did that, kept the background vocal parts, and kind of went from there too, and then played a couple shows from there. But it's really tough with Brian, our singer. He's very busy, so it's kind of hard to nail down a time with most musicians. I'm sure people know the deal with trying to plan practices and trying to actually actively be in a band. It's very difficult to actually keep going,
Yeah.
So that's that.
And yet here you are with 4.
With 4. Kind of. Like I said, they'll all kind of come around and we'll play. The timing
just works out.
Yeah, but mostly Fusebox, my original band that I was in, started in 1992. Started out as a 3-piece. Had moved through members through there, but it's kind of consistently been me and my drummer, Dustin Norberg. And right now I have Mike Ruggiero. And now we're back to a 3-piece. Actually, we had a few other people going through there, multiple guys in the band. And and then... that's kind of easy because we've been doing it for 25 years, I think. Wow. It's like that kind of a thing. So, and then it's kind of easier, a little bit easier to play shows now with a 3-piece because you have more room.
Yeah,
I guess to do what you're going to do. But yeah, the main band I'm in is Manganista, and that's going. We just did a Belly Up show, and we're recording another album right now too, and.
Who's the songwriter?
That's Matt Ray. Yeah, I guess I can name the people that are in there. It's Ryan McMullen plays guitar, and I play bass. Dusty Norberg, who's also in Fusebox, is the drummer for Manganista. Mm-hmm. And Matt Ray, the singer and songwriter, most likely for that too. And we had a keyboard player, but he left last year, who's been in the band since they were a cover band, which I actually had played a few shows with them as they were a cover band too. But so now we're a 4-piece now, and Matt's kind of picked up the key, was just singing, and then now he's picked up the role as keyboards. So we've got that going. So basically guitar, bass, drums, and keyboards.
I think when I saw you guys at Oktoberfest, he was on the keyboard.
Yeah, Matt was on the keyboard. I think that was our first show with Matt going full keyboard.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. And I also brought albums to show you from Manganista. So just kind of
let's get into that now.
I'll just show you. Yeah. So.
Albums.
Yeah, albums. This is the Manganista. Oh, this one's the unopened one. I brought one for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Shooting at the Big Bang
Shooting at the Big Bang
Scenes.
Scene. That's the one that took us 8 years to make. This one we produced. Me and Matt produced it and recorded it in our recorded the drums in a church, and then we went and
You
tracked.
recorded the drums in a church?
Yeah, I brought my mobile rig out there, and
What was the thought process behind that?
Big room.
Just the sound.
Big room.
Straight up sounds good.
Just getting that going, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're actually working on another full-length album right now, recording songs for that and at present. Yeah, and
Nice.
that one's cool because that one's like, yeah, I'm the bass player, Manganista, but I play synth and guitar on there too. And
Plus, I like the art.
yeah, that's actually Dave Talbot. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he was a guitar player for Skydiver back in the day, and a really cool artist. A lot of his art is kind of like that 50s sci-fi kind of thing. And Matt's kind of really into that, you know. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let's talk about this album.
Yes, that is the split single that we did with Unsteady last year. We recorded that at K Street Studios down in, I guess, downtownish, you know. Yeah, we just, Unsteady John did his recording, we did our recording, and we just split the money to release the single.
Which is a great idea.
Yeah, and we played a couple shows with them too. It was fun, you know, doing that and getting that together and just getting the music out there. You know, it's fun. Again, all the records we try to do colors, you know, so they have like a lot of cool.
Using the same
vinyl.
artist is really, really fantastic.
Yeah. I'm not sure what we're doing with this next one too. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And then, but anyway, and then this one was done a couple years back. This is Picturehead, and this is kind of what started the and these are all available on quasirecords.com, Matt Ray's record label, and also iTunes and sound. You pick it; it's on there. CD Baby, SoundCloud, whatever. You can get them downloaded, or you can get, if you want the albums, you either come see a Manganista show, or just order it from our website, manganista.com. So, and this is Picturehead. This is a combination of a bunch of La Mesa artists. We have Dawn on here and Susan on this one. Also,
really?
A band called No Reply. We had the Cutaways, a few other Milt Ellison, and this was actually this one, the Manganista one, is also red vinyl. It's
Nice.
also 45 RPM too on this one. But also, I also got one of my songs on here. It was a song I wrote for my daughter when she was born, so it's kind of cool to get this one on vinyl. It was kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, my singer, songwriter guy, Matt Ray, is pretty motivated, you know, which helps, you know, getting that done. So
that's
kind of
great.
Fun. Yeah.
Let's talk about your equipment a little bit. What is your?
I don't think we got enough time to do that.
What is your rig setup?
Okay, so basically, if I'm playing bass, I have a few different. We'll say the Manganista rig and the Fusebox rig is a little bit different. I've gone through different things where I've ran different amps and stuff. So basically, with Manganista, the ideal rig that I have when I first started playing with them is I had actually a Moog synthesizer up on top with my bass and a bass amp, and I have a lot of pedals. I'm kind of pedal junkie kind of guy. And what I end up doing, because I'm using a lot of pedals, I actually always play out of 2 amps. So basically, I have a bass amp and the main bass amp, and then I have an effect amp. So all of my pedals go into the one effect amp. So when I click on a pedal, I don't lose the bass tone or lose the signal. So when if I hit a buzz pedal or a synth pedal or any kind of pedal, I've got both tones coming out. It works almost. It's almost a necessity if you're playing bass and you're running pedals, because I know Brent's probably ran into this issue where you're trying to use a pedal and it squashes your tone. So I just eliminated that whole thing and it's got to carry 2 amps. But I solved that problem by buying a Fender Rumble. I don't know if you're familiar with this stuff, but it's a 200-watt bass amp that is about 15 pounds. It actually weighs less than my guitar amp. Yeah, I just carry it up. It's the greatest thing I think ever invented. This is just a light bass amp, because you bass players out there know what I'm talking about. You know, it's like next to the drummer, you're carrying the most heaviest gear out there, and it always is a pain to get that stuff loaded up. But yeah, and that's kind of what I'm into. having Moogs, but I end up using I kind of have this thing where I like to turn, like, I like synths. Since I'm kind of a sucker for a synth, so I'll have, like, initially, like I said, I like playing the little synth rig, little keyboard next to me, so I can also do bass lines on the keyboard, get that synth tone, or even like some of that dub tone. You get that down on the keyboards, but I also have probably, and I use this in Manganese and Fusebox too, probably the most ridiculous things ever invented was I have a double neck Rickenbacker, which is basically a bass on the bottom and a guitar on top, and I run a whole chain.
What?
It's crazy.
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, double neck Rickenbacker guitar and bass. So I played
now
bass.
I wish you had it here. So
I almost brought it. I but I'm like, I was like, I figure I just describe it.
We'll have you on again.
I'll post a picture. Yeah, I'll come back on. I'll bring it, but I'll post a picture of it. I'll send you guys a picture so you can put it in the thing.
Okay.
But so what I ended up doing was, the whole plan behind it was to simplify my rig. I know that sounds weird, but it really was to simplify it, because I do like the synth tones, but it's very difficult sometimes because I like old synthesizers and sometimes they're temperamental. So I end up making that guitar a synth. So when I'm playing bass, I'm actually running a Electro-Harmonix bass synthesizer through that chain. So like my guitar is going through my pedal chain, which is like synth, a phaser, and a looper. And or not looper's on the bass side, but a phaser and a delay. So I have like basically a chain that turns the guitar into a synth, so I can do like bass lines on the guitar using a synth. So I can go back from like solid bass to like a synth bass really fast, instead of like playing the keyboards and then going back. Just silly, but I'm kind of a silly kind of guy.
I don't think that's silly at all. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
It's just weird. I get, it is, and it's like the whole ridiculous nature of it is not lost on me, but it's very fun just to like, because again, you go up there with this huge thing like, what the heck is that guy doing? Who does that guy think he is? It's like, that's just being a dork,
I
doing
love
that.
it.
But yeah, and that's fun. And in that also, I use the double neck. I haven't been employing it that much lately. It's just because we've been doing like a lot of different gigs. The double neck gigs are resorted to when like we're doing like a 2 to 3 hour show at a brewery, so I'll have like more room to set stuff up. And yeah, I've even gotten worse with that too, where I've actually had these old Moog pedals, these synth pedals, and I've ran that too with the double neck and having it all going through my effects chains. I have a looper for my bass, so I'll loop a bass line and then tack that in thing, and then I'm playing guitar on top of it too. So I'll do that a lot in Fusebox, where I'll play guitar and bass, at the same time, and singing lead vocals too. It's
Wow. Your lead vocals
in Fusebox, yeah,
Okay.
and I do backgrounds in Manganista. But that's it's just I'm kind of I wouldn't necessarily say ADD, but I definitely have to be doing a bunch of things at once. Otherwise, it's kind of like idle hands or something.
Yeah. When did you start your musical life?
I would
birth,
say
or?
pretty early. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say at birth, but I think when I was like,
were you a lessons guy? Did you go to lessons?
I think for a little while. I'm relatively self-taught. I would say relatively, because I did join the orchestra. I played cello, and when they did orchestra in elementary school and stuff, I played cello in there for a couple of years, and that kind of got me the foundation. And then I think the reason why I wanted to do the cello was I saw, I was a big fan of the Police, and I saw Sting with the stand-up bass, and I'm like, I want to do that. And like, you can't, you're too small. I'm like, okay, I'll get the one that looks like it. And then I started playing cello, and then I eventually, I think in like 6th grade, I got a bass from Sears and started playing. I think I learned Night Court, if you know that bass line. I had like Louie Louie is the first one, which is funny because I taught my daughter Louie Louie recently too. And but like, yeah, you kind of thumb around on it. But I had I think when I was like maybe 6 or 7, I got one of those little Casio keyboards that had like, the drums in it and stuff, and I'd always mess with that too before. Just kind of in you, I guess,
Right.
from the beginning. And then played pretty much, bass from the time I was 12 till now, which I'm, 45. something like that.
Younger than me.
But yeah, and then
What was your first band?
My
when did
first
you get with the group of
actual
people
band was Fusebox, actually, and that was in I guess 1992 is when I started that one with the drummer Dusty, and we were playing with a few different people. We were playing with guys from a band out of high school. They were called Keith Mahugan. We had a couple guys. We were just playing with them, really like kind of a jazz funk kind of oriented. I think that's pretty much it. And I was in Fusebox pretty much until recently when I joined Manganista. I also was in another band called Chingus. With Mike from Fusebox, and we did that with Nikki Carano, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, and she was a drummer. We were a 3-piece. I did the same synth thing with the guitar and bass and stuff. And then joined Manganista. I mean, I've been in a few other bands too, helping friends out, doing stuff, a little bit of, session work here and there. But yeah, for the most part, just been in Fusebox and Manganista until I was in Motel Blackouts and been in kind of the same kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, playing guitar probably started maybe pretty much when I was in high school. But everybody plays guitar, so kind of bass. I was already playing bass. It was kind of like my first choice of a thing. So bass players always get work like drummers. I mean, you can always tell, and I always kind of run that as my stipulation for a band. If the bass player isn't good, I really kind of don't like the band. No offense to bands that don't have bass players, but yeah, it's kind of the thing. It's like when I look at bands, I kind of go from the top. Is the drummer good? Is the bass player good? If that combination is good, it's probably pretty good.
Right.
The guitar player can be kind of okay, and you could still have a pretty good band. But yeah, I've been playing, I guess, guitar since in high school, but I recently, in the past, maybe last 10 years, I was kind of focusing on guitar, and and then herein comes my lesson factor, where I've actually take lessons, play guitar and stuff too. So for my guitar player who teaches lessons, that I actually, was a nice segue. I'll do that. I actually do my podcast with Mike, which is Theory Thursday, with Mike Ricciarello and me, and I've taken a few lessons from him. And
I loved the set.
Oh yeah. That's Mike's teaching room. That's his in his garage, and we've been doing that for a year, and it's been fun.
Tell me the name of it again.
It's Theory Thursday.
Theory Thursday. It's on Thursdays.
On Thursday, we own a day. We have a day. And we've been doing that pretty much every week for a year. We actually last week was our 1 year anniversary on that.
And
too.
So tell me the premise behind the show.
Well, basically it's just we kind of hang out with local guitar players. So far we just do guitar players. We're working on bass players and other people, but in the meantime, right now, since the past year, it's been guitar players, and we basically sit down, talk, interview them, kind of like what you're doing, except we play. We have the bass, we have a drum machine. One of our sponsors is Beat Buddy, which is a little pedal. We use that. It's a drum pedal, drum machine pedal, and it works out kind of fun. And it's really cool because I show up every week because it's kind of fun I just get to play with a lot of different people,
right.
Which I'm kind of into doing that. I enjoy any skill level that you're at. I actually enjoy just the act of making music. I do. So, yeah.
On the show, do you guys just jam? I mean, is it just a jam, or do you have?
Yeah, we do. Sometimes it actually depends on who we have in there as a guest. Like we'll do. If someone's promoting something, we'll promote it. If someone has like a song, a lot of times me and Mike will learn their song, and then we'll find a drum beat and we'll play that song while they're singing their song. Depending on different artists and guitar players, singer songwriters. It's just it's kind of like interview, hangout, jam session. This kind of thing, and it's fun.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah,
I liked it. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, we have a good time
when he comes to our little studio.
Yeah, we'll have a good time. Yeah, we have a good time, and it's a good thing. It's fun. We've we've been at it for a year now and just keep going. You know, we just went to NAMM last year, and we actually got
You mean January?
Yeah, this year NAMM, and we had the full mobile recording rig. We had like because we have sponsors that were at the NAMM, so we actually went and we set up at our sponsors' booths, and me and Mike played, and we did a couple interviews, but we kind of figured it out. We were figuring out as we were going. We actually set the camera up on our cart, and we had the wireless microphones. And we were just able to stop and get a few people.
No media badges.
Oh yeah, we had
media badges.
Yeah, we had
just
those
badges.
We had our sponsors badges.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we could have got media badges, I think, but I think we just were guerrilla styling.
On the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're basically set up.
We're sort of wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
How are we going to go about that? We're getting the media badges. Are we going to guerrilla style it?
Yeah.
What
Well,
we
kind of we got it in. We got in, and we actually had. I think we're talking about maybe doing some kind of booth this year. I don't know, but we'll figure that out. Mm-hmm. It's another year away, but it was fun. I got to meet a bunch of different people and got to meet some of our sponsors face to face, which we hadn't done before.
That's nice, yeah.
And that was cool, and it was a fun time. Yeah, but as far as like, jamming and playing, I kind of fluctuate from many different styles of music. The one thing I'm not really good at is reggae. I can do it. I'm just kind of weak at it. Your limitations. Mm-hmm. But more like a funk guy. I will do like funk and jazz is kind of my thing, and but I'll do metal and stuff too, and heavier stuff. I just kind of like all genres of movies and music, but music, all styles, all genres. And
are you a Fender bass guy?
You know what? I do like the Fender bass, but I play a Music Man right now. I've had it for about almost 15 years.
Okay.
I got a Music Man Sterling. It's kind of nice, it's kind of a shorter scale, kind of not shorter scale. I guess it is kind of small. The fret spacing is small. It's tighter than the Stingray. Yeah, and then I kind of like the sound of the Music Man. It's kind of very versatile. I can do pretty much any style with it, and that's a 4-string, along with my double neck Rickenbacker. It's just the 4-string on the bottom, 6-string guitar on top, and then I have a.
That's so crazy.
It looks crazy. It's huge too.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's heavy too. It's very heavy. It's like that's one of those things where, like, I will never play a full show with that.
Right. Special circumstances.
Yeah. It works. It's fun. It's got a pretty cool sound. It's got that Rickenbacker sound, and then the guitar, which I'm not really big fans of Rickenbacker guitars, but it's the only one that actually had the platform of the double neck what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'll just get the Rickenbacker. Yeah. It works. So I think it's like it's modeled after. I think Geddy Lee had one, but his was reversed. He had the bass on top and the guitar on bottom. But Mike Rutherford from Genesis is actually, I think, the model that I have, except the difference is he had a 12-string on top of his. Wow. On the top, and instead of a 6-string, which I don't need the 12-string. It's right. More practical. Practical, again, the practicality factor. Yeah. More practical for a 6-string, even though there's nothing practical about that guitar. And also I have a 6-string carbon that I barely play anymore. I did a 6-string carbon bass, which is cool. I've used that pretty much predominantly on the for most of Fusebox's, which is interesting because there's a lot of songs that I do on the 6-string bass, the intros and stuff that since I don't play the 6-string anymore, it's very hard to transpose some of that stuff with having those extra strings on it. But and then I have a few. I think that's it for I do have my original Fender jazz bass, and that's pretty much like what I base most of my, like if I were to go get a custom made bass right now, if it wasn't a Music Man, it would be like a Fender jazz style bass. I just kind of like the versatility of it. Because I do fluctuate with various styles, I like to have the unlimited tone options that has. Yeah. It's kind of what I look for in guitars and amps and stuff too. And as far as guitars go, Stratocaster, I have 2 of those. More recently, I play a SG. This Gibson SG is pretty much, where I land, where I basically, if I'm going to go play a gig or if I'm going to go jam with somebody, I'm bringing my SG with me just because it's been what I've been using for the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. And I have a Ibanez hollow body, but I have in different amps because I do a lot of recordings. I do a lot of different things. So I like a lot of different tone options when you're going into record. I have various guitar amps, but what I'm really into is light and small and like low wattage. So like I have a few of those like 5 watt. I have a 5 watt Epiphone head that I use a lot for recording. Just a single Class A amplifier, has one knob. You can get it up to dirty or get it up kind of break up. And I have another amp called Jet City, which is a 5 watt. I can switch it from 5 watts to 2.5 watts. It's just kind of different sound. My main amp that I use is a Jet City 20 amp combo, which it's like made by Soldano, so I get that kind of heavier kind of tone. Because when I do guitar in Fusebox, I do basically leads and sing, like lead playing and a little bit of rhythm. So I like that kind of heavier metal kind of sound of a guitar. And then I have a Hughes and Kettner, another 18 watt head, so that's like kind of the thing. And my standard amp that I use mostly doesn't leave my studio anymore. It's just a old school Fender Bassman. And so that's what I use mostly. That's what Ryan likes to use when we come over and play, when we have manga practice, and when we do recordings, mostly we use that 50 watt Fender head, and various different cabinets and stuff to go with it. But
what does manganista mean?
You know what? I don't know. I think it's like it's
That was not the answer I was expecting, but I'm okay
it can mean
with
whatever you want it to mean.
Right.
It's kind of like Sandinista, but you're Sandinistas that are Japanese comic book fans, I think, so it's like manga-nista. I don't know. It's something like that. I think there actually is a definition of manganista, because the thing is, the band used to be called Scaramanga before it was Manganista. So took the manga, and then we're like, whatever, what Matt's brainchild. You gotta get Matt on to find out what the name means. Yeah. It means very very interesting music is what it means. I guess is what it means. It's very fun to play, stuff like that. But
it is good music. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's fun. Again, it's like going through the recording process and going to live shows. It's very it's a very interesting transition. Now we're like, because we started out, it's kind of almost like a very 80s influenced sounding stuff, very keyboard heavy early on, and then now, since we don't have our main keyboard player, Matt's singing, we're kind of, I guess until I joined them, we're kind of moving more of a guitar-oriented kind of sound. So it's getting a little bit more guitar-driven and a little bit more, just song-oriented, like based around the bass guitars and drums, almost like more rock and roll than we were before.
Right.
So
I love that. I love when bands kind of don't have a cap on what their sound is, and they allow themselves to sort of be organic like that.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's the way I am. I mean, for me, it's eclectic. I mean, the Fusebox has, like, we play reggae terribly. We go from reggae to like punk rock, like all in the same set. Like country, we kind of hit all that stuff because it's I'm kind of weird that way, where I like all kinds of styles of music, and a song is a song to me. It doesn't matter. I just kind of do what the song wants, and just play to the song. So I kind of enjoy various styles of music. So it reflects in the music that I tend to like to create. And I'll also, you kind of have to evolve, as you're playing. I mean, if you stay in one place, it gets bored. You get bored. You get stagnant. So like you kind of need to just keep moving forward, with playing, and you got to evolve as a band. Otherwise, you like I said, you just kind of get stuck. In the same thing, same place.
Do you have a preference or maybe not, between being in the studio and being live?
You know, I do. I kind of do. I kind of like the studio better. I mean, just because you just kind of have control over it. You know, you can kind of like you could take time, you can get it. But I do enjoy playing live. But
Yeah.
I think the whole point, for me personally, I do enjoy playing live. I think more now than I ever did. But I think the only reason why I ever like wanted to play music was so I could record it. You know, so like my whole goal as being a musician and doing what I'm doing is to build a, build a studio, be able to record my music, you know, just at any, you know, whim that I have, and just go in there and do it. So I kind of like both, but I'd have to say I prefer the studio just because, especially if you get something to completion, you know, that's also the good. Oh, I got something. Here's something, you know, that is there. But I do enjoy the live shows. They can be fun, especially when there's people.
Yeah,
it helps. You know, it helps to have people watching. You know, otherwise, you know, I'd rather be recording.
right. The people just feed the vibe of what you're
Yeah,
doing.
you know, it is like, and again, like you kind of feed off the crowd. I mean, there's certain things that, you know, and I'm kind of I guess a open book. Like I'll feed off a crowd. Like if the crowd is terrible, I'm gonna just kind of stand there and do nothing. But if the crowd's good, I'm gonna move around where you feel the energy, and you kind of get, you know, ignited. That adrenaline starts kicking in. You start, you know, wanting to perform. You know, that kind of goes in.
That's actually personally what I liked about playing live was the out of control nature of the beast. And
Oh yeah.
having to try, you know, as the front person to reel it in and keep it together. And I kind of like that out of control, like what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
You know, just going to Fusebox, we kind of thrive on that. Just, you know, I guess it just depends. Yeah. We thrive on that. Like we're going to wing some stuff tonight and we don't even care. Like, it's like and it's kind of like what we do on the show too, with me and Mike. Like a lot of times we'll get a guest in, and a lot of times we'll prepare for him, but you know, we'll like, I always enjoy when a guest says, no, let's just wing it. Like, we had Kyle Merrill from Brothers Gowan is like, you want to do anything? Oh, we'll just go for it. I'm like, anytime anyone does that, I'm like, I know it's going to be cool because we're just going to just go for it.
Yeah.
You know, and like see where the chips may lie, and
Do you
it'll be
record
good.
every time? Are you recording what you're
Oh
jamming?
yeah. Every time we've got it. We've got our. We don't do like Pro Tools, but yeah, our engineer now we record everything from the top to bottom, even before the show. Yeah. So it's kind of like we have like a few outtake stuff that we're not even, we can't really, you know, some stuff we can do, some stuff we can show, some stuff we can't, but it's fun though. But like to get in that groove with people, and that's the thing. I'm kind of I enjoy jamming. I like songs. Like basically Fusebox started because I like jamming. I wrote songs because it was an excuse to jam. You know, it was kind of like an excuse to just go play and, you know, have the feeling of playing, you know, just having the excuse to play. But, and that's kind of like what I like. I like playing with a lot of people. If I like being in bands are fun, but I really enjoy like just, you know, just having a few people over, or even like sometimes I'll set up a whole, you know, at parties, sometimes I'll go and set up my whole rig, PA system, you know, guitar amps, like at like friends' parties like Meat Fest. I do it every year. I set up amps, and we get like bands, like people will come in and open jam. Have the kids come up and play. Yeah. You know, I'll do other parties where I've set up, and I just kind of enjoy that whole thing where it's like, I don't really play. I'm like, you can play. It's like, just come on up and hit the keyboard for a thing. Or just even someone's like kind of shy. It's like, it's all right, man. Everybody starts somewhere. You got to start now. You're shy. Come on and play. It doesn't matter. We'll get something going. You know, any level, any like I said, any skill level. It's always fun to jam, and then you kind of get those people in that are kind of at the lower skill level. Like, oh, this is what it's about. You know, you know, and then it motivates them to kind of get going and get better, and like, oh, that's really fun. I want to do that again. You know, because it really is something that that I believe, I mean, it keeps me sane. You know, I would be out, you know, fighting people every night. I don't think so, but if I didn't, it definitely, like, it's kind of a thing where it's, if you know, most musicians, there's a few exceptions, but I think they're more centered people. It's just like they're more relaxed because they have that you know feeling. You're able to express yourself in through music and kind of heal yourself. You know, kind of get those stresses out, get all that out. You know, it's kind of it helps. You know?
True.
Yeah.
So that brings me to this question,
Okay.
which I think is going to wrap us up.
Okay. Cool.
Supergroup.
Okay.
You have your choice because you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
You're either on the keys, the keyboard, or the guitar, or or singing, or you're doing it all.
Yeah.
Who are your other players in your supergroup?
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a hard thing. So I would say, like, my supergroup, if I were to do it in San Diego, I have a couple guys do that, but I'll go national for everybody.
Okay.
I'll say that Frank Zappa is playing guitar in my band, in his band, but it's like, yeah, if it's my band, like I've got I've been bestowed the complete knowledge of everything.
Right.
Right. If I'm making this,
it's fantasy
let's
land.
make this fantasy land, whatever it is. Yeah. Frank Zappa is my guitar player.
Okay.
I'm probably, I'd probably want to play guitar too with Frank. I'd probably get like, I'd have to say, like Alive or Dead, like my super group. Just if I'm not even in it, let's just say I'll dance around like a monkey,
right?
And you know,
pour the coffee.
Yeah, pour coffee. I'd probably say Frank Zappa on bass, or Frank Zappa on guitar, Jaco Pastorius on bass. I'd say a guy named Joe Zawinul, who's in a Weather Report, is a keyboard player on synth. Is actually Weather Report with Jaco, so I might want to pick someone else. Let's say. Yeah, I'll say for drummers, I'll probably go with either Tony Williams, who was a funk fusion drummer. I'll go Herbie Hancock with keyboards. So we'll go Frank Zappa, Herbie Hancock on keys.
That would be
I'll
so
go
cool.
Jaco, or screw Jaco. I'm playing bass in that band, so I'll play bass in that band. Get Herbie Hancock playing keys and. So some horns. Let's go with. Got to get some horns in. So I'm a sucker for a horn section. I'll take the Chicago horn section with that band, and probably another guitar player. I'll probably take the guitar player from Chicago in there too, the original guitar player, and maybe Hendrix. Yeah, in that band.
Wow.
So it's a big band.
That is a super group there.
Yeah.
Best answer yet.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I had more time to think about it, I'd probably pick up other saxophone players. But I'm thinking working as a band, yeah, that would probably work out better because you get kind of fusiony. We get funky, with Herbie and Zappa. Yeah, Chicago horns, or even
That would be something to hear right there.
Cool. I'd like to see that band. Yeah.
Tell us, when can we see Manganista? When can we see Fusebox?
The next Manganista show, I'm not sure what it is, but I will tag it in this post when it goes live. I'll put all my information there.
Yeah.
But Fusebox is actually playing we're in April now? April 14th at Bar Pink.
That's a Saturday.
Saturday, April 14th at Bar Pink next weekend, I think is what it is. And if you guys want to check me out more, I'm Theory Thursday every week on Facebook and YouTube. Go to manganista.com, theorythursday.com, check it out. We can get albums that way. I think that's pretty much it. Working on a Motel Blackout show soon. Hopefully, if we can get it together. And then, I forgot to mention the Blue Sky Flu band that I play guitar in. That's with my other guitar player used to be in Fusebox, and that's also with Jeff Newman from Motel Blackouts, and I'll name the Motel Blackouts now because they'll probably kill me if I don't say it. Josh Valle, Brian Hogarth, Jeff Newman, and myself.
Oh, we're going to have them all on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's all good.
And then Blue Sky Flu is Ryan McMullen, Jeff Newman, Steve Anderson, who was also in Fusebox previously, Mario and Sarah Rodriguez, and myself. So, got to get that out of there.
Very good. Very, very good. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
For coming up here.
Yeah.
It's been lovely
It's been
chatting
fun,
with
yeah.
you.
Yeah. I'll
And
definitely come on
best
again.
wishes to everything you're doing. My
Oh.
God, you got a full plate, sir.
Yeah, and family.
Yeah, right. And then you tuck that in somewhere, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. But
thank you for coming out.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you
Yeah,
for
I'll do
making
it
the
again.
drive and everything. This is
sure.
GearHedz, a Jade Lounge production.